Hello people, hope you're doing good and you're progressing in your personal endeavors. My name is Emmanuel from Charlie Emerson Consults, your personal growth and development partners. Some time back we talked about a substance called character in regard to personal growth and development. You know, life is spiced up with so many ingredients that make things happen. And today we want to talk about an ingredient called creativity. And there is no other place from which we can draw creativity other than nature. Because the greatest creator there is God. And He created everything you see and hear about. So if we are to be creative, we draw that from nature. God's creativity gave us the creations we see all around us. God's creativity has given us the many innovations we see and use in our day-to-day lives. God's creations give us human creativity. I repeat, God's creations give us human creativity. Humans cannot be creative without what God created. So for you to be creative, you must draw from what God has already put in place. Now, imagine this. God created man in the Garden of Eden, but he was not to be stuck in the Garden of Eden. What do I mean? He was meant to improve and manage the garden. Everything he needed to make the Garden of Eden a better place, God had given him. And everything you need to make your life better, God has given you. Now, that is when the ingredient of creativity comes in. With the creation called Eden, there was a problem before Adam. There was a challenge, if I may say, the challenge to make the Garden of Eden a better place. It was already good because, God does not make mistakes. But then, Adam also had the responsibility to make it better than he found it. You know what that means? Responsibility. He had the responsibility to make it a better place than he found it. The responsibility to recreate and make things better is upon each one of us as individuals. In there is what we call personal growth and development. It is until we have accepted that responsibility to make things and life in general better that we can now begin talking about personal growth and personal development. God has given mankind the responsibility to recreate. If we look at reproduction, we have the responsibility to procreate. We also have the responsibility to take care of the recreations we have brought into life. Just like a parent has the responsibility to take care of the children they bring into life. Now, check this. A garden, the Garden of Eden, then a city in the book of Revelation. Remember, in Genesis, it is talking about the Garden of Eden. And then in the book of Revelation, the Bible is talking about a city well transformed and built. Can you imagine that kind of transformation? Between Genesis and Revelation, there are so many other books in between. And there are so many activities that have taken place in between there before you get to the book of Revelation. From where God put you to where you are supposed to be as an individual, there are so many other activities that are supposed to take place and happen before you can see things changing. And that is your responsibility and my responsibility. But if we do not accept that responsibility, then we cannot change things. You know, in a creation called humanity, there are great exploits to be recreated and released in each and every individual. For every person you see out there, God has put great exploits in them. But until they accept the responsibility, they will never release and realize those responsibilities and the great exploits that God has put within them. So whatever is embedded within us, we must first take the responsibility to have it manifest. Now my question to you is, what is it that you have to recreate and release for humanity? What is it that you have to recreate and release for the betterment of humanity? It is from that point that you as an individual, you are also going to become better in all spheres of life. So, even as you listen to me, I'm encouraging us to embrace the ingredient called creativity. And where do we draw that from? From what God has already created. Remember, these are natural principles. You cannot beat or challenge. You can only draw your creativity as an individual from what God has already created. Until then, it is my prayer that you become creative to make your life better, so you can also impact other people for the betterment of humanity in general.